everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Sam, aka Yo Sam Do Sam, and I make content about autism, ADHD, neurodiversity from the perspective of a late diagnosed autistic and ADHD adult. I looked at my calendar recently and realized that not only is it my 5-year anniversary of YouTube very, very soon, probably by the time I publish this video, to be honest, but that makes it almost, more than 5-year anniversary of receiving my autism diagnosis. And I thought, well, this calls for some kind of a celebration to mark the occasion. So I'm going to tell you about 5 things, because 5 years makes sense, right? 5 things that I have learned in the 5 years since my autism diagnosis. I've learned a lot more than 5 things, but we wanted to keep this short, right? This is an unscripted video. I have bullet points and not much else. I've taken my ADHD meds, but hopefully it will be something to think about. And maybe if you are about to, or you're in the process of, or you've just received your diagnosis, maybe this will be helpful and uplifting, I hope, as an idea of like what's to come in the next 5 years in your life. Because an autism diagnosis is a very significant thing for a lot of people. It certainly completely changed my life, and it completely changed my relationship that I have with myself. And maybe that should be point number 1. But actually, point number 1, as written down, is that after you get your diagnosis, a lot of the times you feel in this sort of state of like, what now, right? And I just want to reassure you, or maybe depress you, that processing this new information about yourself is something that will take years, and I think probably takes longer the more years you've lived. It takes time, and I think now coming up to 5 years, I am probably at the point where I've stopped getting memories of things that happened in my childhood or in my teenage years and gone, oh, that's why, it's because of the autism or because of the ADHD. I think 5 years is like, it was enough for me. It's enough, we move on now. It's really important to be gentle with yourself during this time, and hopefully you have some kind of a support that you can work through with a therapist or some kind of a counselor or anyone who understands about looking back and understanding your life through a different lens. You may have had labels that others gave you or that you put on yourself, like rude or lazy or incompetent or whatever, and you might spend quite some time looking back and actually thinking about whether that was true or whether you were just struggling because you had undiagnosed neurodivergences. So it really takes time, and it does not happen all at once. And things like journaling helps with this, therapy helps with this. If you can find a neurodivergent affirming therapist, that would be excellent, or even just an understanding ear. So the second point I want to make is that after you get your diagnosis, a lot of people will dive headfirst into what we'll call the autism community, which of course is not one thing. There is no one online autism community that represents everyone. There are pockets here and pockets there, people doing things in real life, people doing things online. And the thing that I've learned is that not every autism community is going to be right for you. For example, in the years between the sort of autism and then realizing that the ADHD was also there, I felt a bit, not left out, I don't think that's the right word, but I definitely didn't feel like people with just autism fully got me, or like it didn't feel like I was fully within my crowd of people. I don't think that's just, if I needed an ADHD community. I think it's just a realistic question of like, as with anyone, there are some people you'll gel with and there's some people that you won't. And if you find one community and you think, what is this? This is a very strange place. Don't lose heart and think there's nowhere for me and all of that, because there probably is somewhere for you. So it can be a little bit of a journey finding the best thing that works for you, and maybe that is, finding a social group in real life. I know, real life. Or maybe that is finding a Discord group. I do have a Discord for my members, so maybe have a look at the channel memberships if you'd like to join that. But maybe my Discord group is not the place that's right for you. And so I would just encourage you not to give up. And I think that's also true of people. When we're diagnosed and we suddenly meet people who have very similar experiences to us, it can feel very intoxicating. And the people that you meet are not necessarily going to be the people that are right for you, but they feel familiar and they feel safe at the time. And I think it's important to realize that your diagnosis is a really huge event in your life. And what you do after that doesn't have to be what you're going to do for the rest of your life. Speaking of people, point number 3 that I've learned is you can't force other people to get it. It's very tempting, especially for someone like me who is kind of a natural educator. I try to explain things to people. That's not always a good way to make friends, by the way. In my everyday life, as opposed to the stuff that I do online, I do try and explain to people about the things that I struggle with, because I know that a lot of time people kind of take a look at me when I say that I'm autistic. They sort of, I can tell they don't really believe me, although I haven't had anyone be rude enough to say that to my face. It takes time to explain to people that I know everybody fidgets a little bit, but stimming is something different. And I know everybody has bad days, but meltdowns are something different. And you can't control them because they're a neurological event. They're not a temper tantrum. And that can feel very isolating when you've discovered this new part of yourself that you want to share with other people. My point is that you can't force anyone to get it. There will be some people who just won't get it, and there will be some people who are interested in learning. If you are an info dumper, we can give people a lot of information too much, too soon, maybe inappropriately soon if you've just met someone, and that causes people to kind of draw away. And so I would encourage you to be patient and try and figure out the people who really do genuinely want to understand, and dose your info dumping. Yeah, is that a thing? Dosing it. So you get to info dump, but you have to be restrained in your info dumping. I don't know. See, this is the problem when I don't script a video. But I would also say, if you have a bad experience with someone, you share that you're autistic to someone and they're very dismissive or rude, don't let that bad experience put you off, because there are good people in the world, there are understanding people in the world, and some of these people are even neurotypical. So try and allow yourself that little bit of vulnerability without opening yourself out to rejection and ridicule and all of this stuff, because there are some people who will get it, but you can't force it. Number 4, there's going to be a lot of releasing things from your past. Once you've identified your autism, that gives you such a crucial piece of information and understanding. And it can be tempting. Like I said in the first step, you spend quite a while going back over memories and thinking, oh, this is why I did that and this is why I did that. But at some point, it's really important to decide that actually you're living for the present and living for the future as well. The past doesn't define you. I'm very guilty of this rumination for sure, and like thinking about things that happened, 20 years ago, and I'm still being embarrassed by them, and thinking, actually, who else is thinking about that? That is existing entirely in my own head. Probably no one else remembers it. So understanding your past is important, and viewing yourself in a different lens is important, but not getting stuck looking back in the past. And this is hard. It's a really hard thing to do, and it's probably better done, worked through with a professional. But it can also be very freeing. Once you realize that all of the people who thought you were just this weird, quiet kid don't matter anymore, and then you find the people that get you, you don't need to live in that past anymore. And these are, by the way, things that I've learned. This is not stuff that you need to learn necessarily. I'm not saying that this is going to be completely relevant to everyone. This is very late in the video for one of my disclaimers, but it's here, so that's what's important, right? And the final, 5th, and probably most important thing I've learned since my autism diagnosis is how to take better care of myself. My principle in life, it doesn't always work very well in practice, but my principle is that taking care of myself is the number 1 priority. And this is applicable with regards to family, work, and in the rest of my life. If I don't take care of myself, nothing else works. If I don't take care of myself, I can't be a good mother to my kids. If I don't take care of myself, I can't get any work done. And so my focus has shifted from one where I overwork, I ignore my own needs for sometimes years at a time, and then wonder where I burn out, to actually saying that taking care of myself is also kind of a full-time job, right? And I need to be every day thinking about how I'm feeling, and no, that's not selfish and self-indulgent or whatever, but it's a really crucial part of coming to terms with the fact that you do have different needs from most people, and understanding what your autistic needs are, or maybe what your ADHD needs are, is such a crucial part of your own continued well-being and, like, hope for the future. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'd love to know what other things that you've learned about yourself or about life or about other people since your own diagnosis. And if you are awaiting diagnosis or pre-diagnosis, I hope that you can find some comfort from this, maybe. I don't know. Is this meant to be a comforting video? I'm not really sure. But it has been 5 years since my diagnosis, and it's been 5 years since I started my YouTube channel, and I wanted to celebrate and I didn't know how. So this is my celebration video, and thank you all for watching and sharing and liking and subscribing and all of that stuff that you do on YouTube. If you are not shared or liked or subscribed to me, then please do that. Click all the buttons because these digital interactions do help promote my channel in the algorithm, of course. And if you do like my content, please share it with your family and friends. I hope they will find it interesting and enlightening as well. So take care, everyone. As always, please take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time. Bye. So I'm going to share with you 5 things that I have learnt. Flight mode on. So I'm going to share with you. So if you can find a neurodiverse affirming therapist, and understanding what your autistic needs are, or maybe what your ADHD if you are awaiting diagnosis or pre-diagnosis, I'd love to know what would I love to know?